Hi, this is Dr. Young, and I'm going to go over your assignment this week. It's very simple. You have 2 discussion questions. For the first one, you got to read Chapter 7 on page 281. In the discussion thread, I have actually posted the question, which is answer question 1. So you're answering one question. I mean, there's more than one, but you're just going to answer that one. You will see that in that page there's a list of questions that you can comment on, and I do want you to do that. That means you still need to look this up in your book. I just posted the main question on that discussion thread for your convenience. So that's the first question. And for that one, it's pretty simple. You get to actually speak of a situation in your own life. So you really get to recall and talk about your experiences with an ethical dilemma almost that you've had to endure, or and then you need to actually comment on one of the other questions 2 through 7. And then for your next question, question 2, is you're going to go to page 314 and 315 where there are 3 cases, and you're going to answer the questions after one of those cases. You choose one of them. And then for this question, for discussion 2, this is the one where you respond to one of your classmates. You do not have to do that for the first discussion question up here at all. The first, as far as the discussion question 2, there are 3 cases. One of them is basically kind of about in conflict, and where you're promoted to a supervisory position, and 2 of your workers are 20 years older than you, and they are not happy about it. The second one is about cultural issues in the workplace, and the third one is kind of an employee who it's basically a manager and a subordinate who is not a very good employee, but the manager and the subordinate are dating, so you have an issue there. How would you deal with it? So anyway, pick one of those cases. Now next week, early next week, I will be posting a video about your week 8 papers. Please make sure that you read the email about week 4 papers and some of the feedback that I gave on that email. Most of you did very well. The only issues that I saw were just not tying in concepts or theories that we learned in the class to the case well enough. Not talking about utilitarianism, or that's just an example of one. But there are other ones that we've read about in the book, and I know I've already talked about that. And also in the classroom, consequentialist, all those kinds of things. I wanted to see more of a tie-in, and I didn't in some papers. Otherwise, it was more about writing errors and just mechanics like that, which if your paper was a mess, I would mark it up, but otherwise I'm not going to mark up a few typos. You should be able to catch those if you're writing that well. So, and I rarely give perfect grades, quite frankly. I give the closest grade to perfect that I could have given was a 14 out of 15, and a lot of people got it. So I'm not complaining. I'm not trying to overly criticize. The work in here was excellent overall. But if it's not perfect, it doesn't get perfect grades. I'm very stingy with that because it's got to be perfect. But again, there were a lot of 14 out of 15s. Not complaining a bit. So let's just keep that going for the last paper. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. Take a moment to review all your grades. Let me know if you have any questions about them. I'll be happy to answer anything you have, but we're getting close to the end, and I want to make sure that there's no issues out there that haven't been addressed. And honestly, sometimes as an instructor, when you are going forward and then you're accepting late work or you're going back and doing this, you get you kind of miss something. So making sure I didn't miss anything. Take a moment, look at your grades, let me know if there's any questions, or if there's any issues, we'll get them resolved. Thanks, and have a great week.